didn't you know I was playing table tennis, man? All right, Bitcoin is struggling to hold the $40,000 level, well, just above $40,000, and that's again on renewed frictions between Russia and Ukraine. Is it renewed frictions, or is it just maybe renewed media narratives? That's what we're going to look at on this show. It's also, remember, a call-in show. So today we're going to let you guys call in. We're going to banter with you guys, the community, on Friday, talk about the new Degen portfolio. I'm going to drop the Degen portfolio, and then we can all discuss the Degen portfolio and why certain coins are added in. It's going to be a big Friday show. So let's do this. Get up, get out of bed, bitches. It's Friday, and it's banter time on Friday. So let's do this. Let's get into it. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Subscribe to our channel. 4 streams every single day, a DeFi show in the morning, a charting show straight afterwards. 4 hours later, a fundamental show. 4 hours later, a gaming show. I think we're the only channel in the world that bring you 4 hours of daily content, as we strive to bring you 24 hours of daily content. One day soon, we'll bring you 24 hours of credible live crypto streaming information 24 hours a day. That'll be very soon. Today, Friday, I've got my man Hustle with me in the house. Hustle, I saw the interview. I know I'm not allowed to talk about it yet. There's a big interview coming up on your show today.
Yeah, well, we have to reschedule it, so we'll talk about that later. But yeah, it has
what
to
are
be
we doing on the show today?
I'm moving apartments today, so that was why I was doing an interview in advance. So there won't be a show today, unfortunately.
All right, no show today, but you are joining me here for a full call-in show, and we're going to talk about your Degen portfolio and my Degen portfolio. So that's the portfolio you dropped yesterday. Here's the Degen-ish portfolio that I dropped here, and that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about portfolios, how to structure a portfolio, what you should be holding, and we'll talk about whether you should be worried about these markets. Hustle will start the call-in show in a few secs. Just before that, let's quickly talk about what's going on in the markets, what is weighing down on the markets. Bitcoin is right now at 40,342. It's not looking very good. But remember, it is an options closeout Friday. It's a very big options closeout Friday. In fact, it's not only the options closeout in the crypto market, it's also a very big options closeout in the traditional market. I'm trying to find, I think I had a tweet somewhere which showed the size of the options closeout. It has been deleted. The tweet was deleted, but there's a massive options closeout today, so this could be all options shenanigans. There are heightened tensions in Russia and Ukraine, but there's a big discrepancy as to whether these heightened tensions are part of a media narrative or whether they're part of what they actually happen or what is actually happening. So if you look at what's going on here, Zero H says it correctly. He said there's 2 real-time narratives. The U.S. Secretary of State Blinken says we are seeing scenarios of Russia creating false provocations in Ukraine. Putin says we're seeing rising tensions in Donbass, need to implement Minsk peace agreement. So again, this discrepancy in the media reporting between Russia and the West. And I got this. I know if I play it, it's going to be cut out. I know it's going to be cut out. So I don't know if I can play it on YouTube. Should we try, James? What do you say? James, should I play this?
Risk it for the biscuit. Let's go.
Risk it for the biscuit. Let's do it. Let's risk it for the biscuit. Don't know if you guys saw this, but this is exactly what it feels like.
Well, he was Putin us on, huh?
That's exactly what it feels like. It feels like every time Putin's doing something, it is getting the Western media up in arms. The Russian media seems to be denying everything that the Western media is saying. In fact, I follow a Russian journalist who's pretty good. His name is Murad Gadziev. Okay, now you got to just take it from whence it comes. It comes from, he is a RT correspondent. Okay, so he does work for Russia Today, which is the Russia state media. But it's always good to look at the Western media and then to look at the Russian state media and then compare them. And then I often find that if you look at things like Al Jazeera pretty much has like neutral coverage because they're not too much pro the US and they're not too much pro Russia. But he says this, he says, the Russian Foreign Ministry has called on Western media outlets to publish a full list of dates on which Russia will invade Ukraine for the year ahead, so Russian diplomats can schedule their vacations accordingly. This is not satire. Apparently, they actually did this. Apparently, the Russians are so fed up with the Western media that they actually did this. Yeah, I mean, he did also publish an interview earlier today which said, I'm convinced that anyone with the faintest interest in Russian policy has now realized that it being hysteria about Russian invasion is propaganda, fake, and fiction, you can only smile as its adults spewing this. So there is a massive narrative coming from the Russian media that this is all a big nothing burger, and there's a massive narrative from the US that Russia is about to invade Ukraine and that the whole world should be on high alert. And I think that speculating here is not going to help anyone. We just have to let the market do what it needs to do. And unfortunately, while it's doing that, we could see some more pain. In fact, if you look at the markets, the NASDAQ, I mean, look at that NASDAQ chart. Look at that NASDAQ chart. The NASDAQ chart is now back. I think it's down about 20% again since its all-time high since it started. I mean, it's down now. It is down 16% since the all-time high, since this whole thing started. Even the Dow Jones, which is the more not the growth stock, you can see it's also broken the trend line and also down quite a bit on these Russian things. So for as long as the markets are doing this, unfortunately, I think crypto is going to be a victim of this, and that is until something happens. I think that the world, if something happens, if there is an attack, I think the world will actually start running to Bitcoin as a store of value to get out of the US dollar when this happens. That's what I think will happen. Until then, we can just sit and watch it all happen. Before we get into degening, I don't know if you guys saw this. I mean, Canada has lost its mind, and I think what's going on here is that the Russia war is actually detracting us from the real war, which is actually happening in Canada. The real war is actually happening in Canada. I mean, this lady's gone mad.
So you're confirming that accounts have been frozen, both personal and corporate, but you're not releasing the information. And the actual follow-up is, I'm just wondering whether the bank accounts will be targeted of individuals who donated to the Give, Send, Go and the GoFundMe campaigns. Are they considered designated people under the Emergencies Act, meaning that their credit cards could be cut and financial services are targeting them as well?
Okay, so the names of both individuals and entities, as well as crypto wallets, have been shared by the RCMP with financial institutions, and accounts have been frozen, and more accounts will be frozen. Crowdfunding platforms and payment service providers have started the registration process with FinTrack. In terms of the specifics on whose accounts are being frozen, you now have the regulations. The financial service providers have those regulations as well. And they, working with law enforcement, will be making the operational decisions.
I mean, you did see that. You did see that. That was another advert for Bitcoin paid for by the Canadian government. And I mean, if you are in Canada, and I know we do have a big subscriber base in Canada, I mean, wow, guys, you guys are fighting. You guys seem to be fighting the real war. What's super interesting is that Jesse Powell from Kraken said that, in fact, I want to show you this tweet. This is a great tweet, which I think you guys need to see. He said that you shouldn't keep your money on exchanges. And the reason why you shouldn't keep your money on exchanges is because exchanges would be forced to give the Canadian government the actual, here we go. So a tweet's actually from CZ, and it's in response to a tweet from Jesse Powell. And he says 100% it has happened and it will continue to happen. It is possible that Kraken will be put in a position where they are told to freeze assets by police without judicial consent and will have to comply. And Jesse Powell, who's actually the head of Kraken, says 100% it has and will happen, and 100% yes, we will be forced to comply. If you're worried about it, don't keep your funds on centralized exchanges and on regulated custodians. We cannot protect you. Get your coins and cash out and trade only peer-to-peer. It's you got to think about, when the head of Kraken Exchange and then the head of the biggest regulated exchange, the biggest centralized exchange in the world, CZ, then comments and says, kudos to Jesse for being transparent with users. Respect. Binance is in the same shoes. Don't use a centralized exchange for this. I'm now telling you, don't use centralized exchanges. Then you need to weigh up the risk and rewards of using a centralized exchange and leaving your money in a centralized exchange. This can happen. This is one of the dangers of centralized exchanges, and any country can do this. If a Binance or a Kraken get a request from the authorities to freeze the accounts of a certain person, they'll do this because their whole business depends on on being allowed to operate in those countries, and so they're going to have to comply. And that's the case for keeping stuff in cold storage. You trade on exchanges, but you move your money out of exchanges into cold storage wallets. And I hate cliches, but this is a big cliche: not your keys, not your coins. I've seen a lot of people with accounts frozen in exchanges for a whole host of different reasons. In fact, I saw some people's accounts being frozen because they didn't pass the KYC at Bitfinex once. And it took them months and months and months to be allowed to trade and to be allowed to withdraw their own money. So yes, the only good reason to trade on a centralized exchange is if you're signing up using a crypto banter link so that you can win the Bitcoin. That's the only reason that you should trade on exchange. No, in all honesty, you shouldn't keep money on exchange, but you should use centralized exchanges to trade because it is the most liquid and safest place to trade. But then get your money off the exchange and get your money into wallets. All right, enough of the news. Let's get into degening with the community. The link to join the show is available on my Twitter right now. It's also available in the description below. Join the show. Let's talk about your portfolios. Let's talk about coins. Before we do that, I want to show you guys the Degen portfolio. So remember earlier on this week, I published a Degen-ish portfolio. And I said, look, the majority of your money should be in the Degen-ish portfolio. Here is the Degen-ish portfolio. Here it is. That's the Degen-ish portfolio. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Terra, Phantom, AVAX, Arweave, Atom, Secret, Sand, Immutable X, Rune or Fuse, Moonriver, Trader Joe, Dopex, Astro, UXD, UXP, Tornado Cash, BBS, UAS, Superfarm, Victoria VR, and Wilder World. That is the Degen-ish portfolio. That's where you should be keeping all your money. You should be dollar cost averaging in. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you the Degen portfolio. I'm going to quickly go through the Degen portfolio because I don't want it to spend time. This is a higher risk portfolio. This is a portfolio that you should be using only when you've got your Degen portfolio in place. And then you can substitute coins or add coins from this list. And I'll show you the list that I think is safe. This is the list. I think you can add some Algorand on. I think you can add some Near Protocol or EGLD. I think you can look at tokens like Rose. I think Veracity Protocol, good bet. DYDX, one of the most undervalued exchanges. Popsicle, the Phantom Popsicle ICE platform, definitely one that's probably due a recovery. AnySwap or Router, I prefer Router, but AnySwap's also good, and that is for cross-chain. Injective Protocol, Prism, Credo, but remember the valuation. Veda is a good speculative bet. Platypus Finance, amazing Degen DeFi on Avalanche. We've been getting insane returns. We've been staking our US dollars there. We've been getting 35-40% plus. Orion.money. That brings Anchor Protocol returns to any platform. Kilt, if you're in the Polkadot ecosystem. Engine, Vulcan Forged, Phantasma, Guild of Guardians, Network, Chingari having a brilliant run. I've been talking to you guys about Chingari for a long time. And then another wild card, which I think is absolutely unbelievable, is Remark. I think you got to have some Remark. It is the NFT play on the Polkadot network. So have a look at that. All right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about portfolios. Let's talk about coins. You feel free to ask me why certain tokens have been added, why certain tokens are not added. That's what this discussion is about. That's what we're talking about here. I just want to set the parameters here. 1 second. There we go. All righty, let's do this. Hustle, my man, is joining me to answer any of your gaming-related questions. Hustle is the best gamer in the world. He's been voted the best gamer in the world in an independent survey of 6 people at the Crypto Banter offices who all said he was the best gamer in the world. All right, guys, let's do this. The lines are open. If you want to join in, if you want to call the show, you go to my Twitter account at CryptoManRun. You go to the YouTube description, and there's a link below, a StreamYard link. You log on. We're all here, and we're going to talk to you about it. Let's keep the conversations short and sweet so we can get as many people as possible on them. Let's not hog the lines. We love you all. We know you love us. So, I mean, if you want to tell us you love us, that's great. But let's not harp on those things. All right, let's start off with Jarek. Jarek, what's on your mind, buddy?
Oh, sorry. I was trying to put my headphones in. No,
what's your wife? Is it your wife cooking there? What's for dinner?
No one's cooking.
Oh, okay. It's your fingers. Okay, I see your fingers in the corner of the screen. Looks like you're cooking.
So,
all right, talk to me, man.
You had mentioned how DeFi was big, an upcoming narrative and institutional adoption. I was just wondering what your thought on insurance for DeFi, such as Tidal. That's been making me it's very volatile of late, but it's been profitable trading in and out.
Okay, so specifically, I love the narrative. Anything that's going to bring institutions to DeFi is something that I love. I think insurance is a major factor in getting DeFi, getting real institutional money into DeFi. Because if portfolio managers are going to be risking money, and they're not going to, and they're also risking their jobs. So if you're a portfolio manager and you want to put $1 million or $10 million into DeFi, and that DeFi vault gets hacked somehow or something, you stand to lose your job. And portfolio managers don't want to lose their job, and they don't want to lose their bonuses. So narratives like insurance are amazing. The only thing is that I haven't seen an insurance protocol in crypto that's actually nailed it, which is good because it means that we're in the early days, and it means that you're buying it cheap. But it's bad because we haven't got a clear winner yet. Now, specifically about the one that you mentioned, I haven't done a deep dive into it. I have heard of it. I haven't done a deep dive into it. So I don't have any comments about how it'll work, but I do think that DeFi insurance is an amazing narrative. On that point, one of the tokens, and again, this is not a shill, this is just, I'm stating the obvious here. People accuse me of shilling Donkey Finance all the time. So I think Donkey Finance is, the reason why I was bullish on Donkey Finance is because I think that yield farming is complicated. And I think that the institutions won't become yield farmers very quickly. So one option for them is to do copy farming and to copy farm existing yield farmers, which makes their job a lot easier. And today we got an announcement from Bright Union. Donkey Finance Social Yield Farming has the first yield strategy embedded with coverage, so insurance coverage. So at least they are piloting these insured strategies of yield farming, which I think is a big step forward. Now, baby steps, we've just started, but I think that this is a step in the right direction. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it did.
Amazing. Buddy, thank you so much. Let's move on to the next one. Noor, where are you from, buddy?
I'm from Pakistan.
Oh, amazing. Another member of the Banter family in Pakistan. What's on your mind?
Well, I've been trying to log on to your previous shows. So there were a few coins that I've invested in, and I had concerns over there. And I've been following you guys since May 2021. And these coins are predominantly from the Solana network. So I've invested in Radium and Serum, but ever since I've invested, they've been going down.
When did you invest?
I think it's been almost 6 months now.
So I'll show you, let me show you what I think happened, and then let's talk about how you're going to get yourself out of this. Because I think you're in the same position as a lot of people in the community. And the question is, should you be worried? I mean, you've been holding these tokens, they've gone down and down and down. And so let's look at where you invested. I'll show you where you invested. So if you invested 6 months ago, this is the Solana price. You invested somewhere around here.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can see that what happened somewhere around here was that the bees were here and that they brought in a lot of volume with them. So you can see that's the volume chart. And you were a victim of, you were caught in the hype and you invested here.
Yeah.
Okay. So now the question you're asking me is, should you sell them here? Right.
I'm almost 50% down on my initial investment.
Of course, because what will happen is Solana will go from here to here, but the alts on Solana will go down much more. So you have to ask yourself a question now. Why did you invest in it in the first place? What was the reason why you invested in this in the first place?
Well, I think predominantly because of the Solana network, and I think I am bullish on that as well. So I have faith in it, but again, I think it's a long-term hold.
Do you think that Solana is a good blockchain that will solve the scalability issues, that is backed by some of the best money in the ecosystem?
Yes.
Do you think that Ethereum has a whole lot of problems at the moment and may not be solved for a good 2-3 years?
True, yeah.
Okay, so when the market turns up, what do you think is going to happen to Solana?
Solana is going to go up, and definitely the alts, the smaller cap alts will go higher.
When Solana goes up, do you think that people are going to need to use very good exchanges like Serum or Radium, which in my opinion are probably the two best plays on Solana?
Definitely.
Then you've answered your own question. So what you're doing now is you're actually playing the next cycle. So I want to show this to you on Bitcoin because I think it's the easiest display is to show this to someone on Bitcoin. You can show it on any coin, but you bought. I'll show it to you. You bought over here. Okay, so let's say you bought over here or over here, and the price was high, and now you're looking at it over here. But let's fast forward a little bit and see what's going to happen in the next cycle. You see, what's going to happen is you bought over here, and next cycle is going to be somewhere over here. That's what happened. We're all in the same position, and the idea is in these situations you got to question your conviction. And usually I go back to asking myself, why did I invest in the first place? And the second question that I ask myself, which is a good question to ask myself, is right now, would you be buying Solana and Radium? Solana, Radium, and Serum. Right now, as it is, at the price that they're at now, if I said to you, you've got $10,000, would you put your money into those tokens? Yes or no?
I would.
You've answered your own question. Don't sell.
Cheers.
Cool, man. All right, remember, you can also get Hustle here, so feel free to hit him with your gaming question, man. John, welcome, man. Welcome to Banter.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you? Where are you from?
I'm from Portugal.
Which city?
From Porto. I went to Lisbon to the party.
Oh, you came to the party. Amazing.
Yes, I went to the party. It was great to be with you and Cialdino and Fred. I got to see him. My question is, play to earn games. If everybody wins, where is the money coming from?
So if everybody wins, where is the money coming from? I mean, the marketplace sales, there's a lot of ways. I mean, the fundraising, tokenomics, the way that the tokenomics are structured on most gaming projects are allocated mostly towards reward systems, or that's why there's a 2-token economy. And when you look at Pegaxi, for example, it prints endlessly to an extent, right? Because it can be minted for rewards, but it can also be burned through the breeding system. So right now, that's how it keeps it healthy. It's a 2-token economy. So there's an earnings token or a utility token, but there's also a governance token. So they build in the reward system, but what keeps it healthy, not everyone wins. Like there is some games where, you buy in and you don't get your money back and then the game wins. Some people don't get their money back on assets. So, that's not the case. Sometimes, sure, you could win money every match, but some people won't put in the time to get their money back. And then they didn't, the game made money.
If they don't play, they buy the assets, but they don't use them.
Yeah, also, exactly. I think every protocol takes fees. Not every protocol, most protocols take fees for buying on the marketplace, for minting the tokens, etc. That goes to the governance holders.
Yeah,
but also, I think
factors.
I think there's one other thing that you got to take into account is that a lot of these tokens are printing and issuing new tokens every single day to attract new users. And that emission schedule is going to be reduced greatly once the network has network effect. So it's almost like if you come and you play early, you start winning a lot. But as time matures, there'll be less of an emission schedule. And then by that, the games will carry themselves, so to speak.
Yeah, it's all about the activity within the economy. Some games become illiquid sometimes because there's just not enough activity in the marketplaces, or a game can change the way that the economy functions over time because something dominates too much in the economy. Like that's happened before. We've also seen games like Axie Infinity change things over time, and they went to the king of the space to they're kind of declining at the moment as far as sentiment goes. So, things go in waves, and it's just all about how you handle it. And I think tokenomics are at the core of it, and just finding a healthy way to keep the money coming back into the economy. That'll help play to earn economies stay healthy long term. Because if the money stops going in, then that's when the rewards will go down.
I must show you something. I don't know if you remember, but we gave away this shoe, which is, it's effectively not a play to earn, it's a walk to earn game, which is kind of like a play to earn game. It kind of works with the same mechanics. And how this works is you buy a shoe And if you walk with a shoe, you earn money. Where do they get the money from? Well, they get the money from people who buy new shoes that are minted. So more new shoes that are minted, they use that money to pay you out. And for as long as the community of active people is growing, you get paid more and more and more and more for your shoes.
But can't that be called a Ponzi scheme? Because you need new people to come in.
Yeah, I mean, Ponzi scheme has the negative connotations. Ponzi scheme is maybe a good word, maybe a better word for Ponzi scheme. Ponzi scheme is probably what you'd call it if it had ill intentions, but this is maybe an adoption curve scheme. I don't call it a scheme, adoption curve narrative. So you think about Bitcoin. The reason why Bitcoin works is because more and more people use it. If less and less and less people use it, it will be worth nothing, right?
One thing I'll say about play to earn, there was a very blue chip project out there in the past that had a referral system. I'm not going to name drop anything, nothing like that. They had a referral system built into something that included a reward system, right? So the more people you referred to a system, potentially, you would earn a lot more money. And they actually ruled it out of that economy because it was very unhealthy. So yeah, I think there's a line in the sand, right? Where a referral system can potentially become Ponzi-ish. So I think just kind of watch for that. But no, I think if there's maybe a healthy line, if there's a cutoff, maybe you can only refer this amount of people, then it actually becomes a referral system. But if it becomes a network marketing scheme, yeah, it's a little different.
I think your point is a very good point, John. Your point is a very good point. I think you got to be aware of A, tokenomics, B, you've got to look and see your question is good. Where is the money coming from? And if the money is coming just from emissions, then what they're doing is they're buying adoption, which is great in the beginning of a life cycle. But if you don't see the game getting network effects, in fact, one place that we've seen this is actually Axie. So Axie was amazing in the beginning, but now it's not showing as much fire as it did in the beginning. And I think that was, version 1.0.
Okay.
Cool, John. Nice to see you again, man.
Nice to see you. Bye-bye.
All right, next up, we've got Rohan.
Hello, Erhan.
How you from? Where you from, buddy?
I'm from the UK, Leicester. Raining like crazy right now. I just wanted to ask Hustle about a game called NFT Champions.
Yeah.
I think it's a really low market cap game, and it gives me very much Pokemon vibes.
Yeah, absolutely. I've covered in it before. I invested in it in the bull market, and it did really well. So, and right now, yeah, it's definitely at a point where, if you were looking to get into that project, it's definitely, it's definitely bottomed out. Really solid looking graphics. I know that they've delayed a ton. Like a lot of their progressions have been delayed over time. The project looks really good. I'm kind of concerned about the fully diluted market cap versus the normal market cap a little bit, but if they deliver, I've been excited about that project. It's just kind of been on the back burner with all the problems going on in the economy.
Yeah, because I'm looking at that, and I want to get into Veracity as well, because currently I got in Luna at $40 when Rand said it in December, and I rode it all the way, and I didn't take any profits. And then I'm in Vulcan as well right now, but I want to switch to more riskier because the value I'm putting in isn't that much. So I think riskier, I've got a higher risk to reward, basically.
Yeah, just look at those low caps. I discussed a ton of low caps on the show too. And when this market dip that's going on right now potentially hits that bottom area and you feel comfortable potentially, taking a look at that and just finding some entry points on projects. Because I dwell everywhere. I dwell in a couple of big coins. I dwell, not Bitcoin, big coins, by the way, just to get that out there. I dwell in a couple big market caps, middle size like Ultra and Vulcan Forge, but I do my degenning in those small caps too. So yeah, whenever the market hits the bottom, you can definitely unload and they'll spring up very quickly, those small caps.
All righty, man. So thanks, buddy. Thanks, Ron. What you're seeing Bitcoin trading at 39,800, just broke below 40,000, but it is printing a perfect retest of that trend line. So we are heading for a perfect retest of that trend line. I think if we break that trend line, we probably have a little bit more to worry about. But for now, I'm pretty much sure that we're in a good cycle. And as I said to you guys earlier on Sheldon Show, I kind of think it'll probably bounce somewhere around 38,500 or something like that. Let's see how that goes. In the meantime, let's get Degen Mitch on, bro. Mitch, you've got a private number to get into the show because you get in every week.
That's good. How's it going, guys?
Good. How's it going? What's in your mind, boy?
Great. I got two questions for you guys. One's about the Degen portfolio and one's about Metaverse.
Degen or Degen-ish?
Degen.
All right, let's get the Degen portfolio up. What's your question?
My question is about Algorand, actually. Algorand has a huge market cap of $5 billion, and it's invested in by Delphi Digital, Multicoin. So what do you think the risks are with it?
So Algorand, when I look at Algorand, I look at it on a relative basis, not on an absolute basis. So you're talking about a fully diluted. There are a few things I don't like about Algorand, and that is why it wasn't on my original list. The things that I don't like about Algorand is that there are a lot of investors who got in very early, who were locked up and got in at valuations of like 0.5 cents, something along those, like really, really low valuations, stupidly low valuations. So that was the reason why I don't like it. But let's look at Algorand relative to other layer ones. So I think you can have a look. You can see Algorand relative to other layer ones, and on a relative valuation for what you're getting. Now, what are you getting with Algorand? You're getting amazing technology that is developed by amongst the smartest people in the world. So Silvio Micali and Steve, those guys are amongst the smartest people in the world. You are getting a layer one blockchain with a lot of money behind it. So you got Arrington Capital with a fund. You've got Anthony Scaramucci with a fund. You've got a lot of other big investors invested in it that want to make it work. Where does it fall in on the spectrum? Well, it's below Near Protocol. It's below Polygon. It's below. I mean, Tron is not even a discussion point at this point. But it's below Polkadot. It's below Terra. It's below Avalanche. So if you are looking for a layer one bet, it's a good layer one bet. Is it my best layer one bet? Absolutely not, which is why I only put it in the higher risk portfolio. I said, if you're looking for something a bit riskier with a bit more upside, maybe that's the one to do.
Okay, cool. Now,
question about Metaverse.
So we're seeing banks start to invest in the Metaverse, right? We saw JP Morgan buy some land. I think it was in which one? Decentraland, yeah. So I think it's only a matter of time before big tech companies follow. Google, Microsoft, Apple, they're coming in at some point. So where do you think they're placing their bets?
Short term, they're going to be looking, well, I mean, let's actually start long term. They're going to be trying to build their own. If Mark Zuckerberg is going to build his own, Jeff Bezos is going to have like the Amazon metaverse, and it's going to be where you go on to Amazon and you could choose to have a normal web experience, or you could put on your headset and you could go through aisles of different. You could look up the department you want to go into, and you can start shopping, so to speak. You know what I mean? So there can be an immersive experience and a website experience, for example. And then you take a look at like Microsoft and stuff like that. I actually see them building out their own metaverses long term. Short term, they'll probably all buy up plots in these metaverses right now, like Sandbox, Decentraland, stuff like that, build up some really cool land plots. But I do think long term that they're probably all going to make their own metaverse play, because I've said it. I think the narrative's following the social media trend, because Zuckerberg started the social media trend. You know, MySpace was hot right before Facebook, but Facebook really set the trend. And, you know, Zuckerberg started that. And here we are again with another social trend.
I have a different view here. That's why they call this banter.
Yeah.
So I think two things are going to happen. I think Hustle's right. I think that they are all going to try and have their metaverse plays, and I think they're going to spend a lot of money. We've already heard of Facebook's metaverse play, which is a multi-billion-dollar metaverse play. I think that Amazon is not going to sleep on this one. I think Microsoft already has had a metaverse play. They bought, what's it called, Activision? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Activision. They didn't buy Activision because they want to make cool graphics, like or anything like that. They want to get into the metaverse. I think though that network effects are not a function of who has the most money, and testament to that is that Facebook had to buy 2 of its 3 most successful products. They only managed to build Facebook in-house, but they bought Instagram and they bought WhatsApp.
Agreed.
Now, you can't buy blockchain-related companies. You can't buy Sandbox. You can't buy Decentraland. So what I'm saying here is no matter how much money you've got, you can't buy network effects. You can't buy it. That is why Facebook had to buy WhatsApp and had to buy Instagram. So I think that the rules of the game have changed. So in Web 2.0, the big daddy with the big checkbook could go and buy whoever he wanted because eventually he'd give a price that they would collapse. And if not, then Amazon would outbid him. But the fundamentals are changing now. So I think what's going to happen is they're all going to have a go at their own metaverse. But I think they're all buying or have bought very, very, very quietly land in Decentraland, land in Sandbox, land Victoria VR. You've got Dell partnering up with them. Why is Dell partnering up with Victoria VR? I think that you've seen two things. One is they are going to hedge their bets cheaply by buying land in Manhattan, which is when I say land in Manhattan, they're going to buy plots in the big network effect metaverses. At the same time, they're going to try and build their own cities. I suspect their cities will fail because they are Web 2.0 people. And I think that they will make more money on the land that they buy in the metaverses. And I am going to put my bottom dollar on it that before the end of this year, we've heard at least 10 announcements from the 10 biggest companies that they own some kind of land in metaverses. And I think that the winning metaverses are going to be the top two because that's where network effects are. Remember that network effects are a function of two rules. Rule one is Metcalfe's law. Metcalfe's law says that the value of a network or a metaverse increases exponentially with every new person. So if there's a metaverse and only Hustler and I in the metaverse, it's not very interesting. But the minute Mitch joins us, then it becomes much more interesting. There's three of us. The second rule that governs network effects is Barabási's law. And Barabási's law says that in absence of any laws, litigation, and government intervention, the users will flock to the busiest nodes. In other words, users will go to the busiest metaverses, which is why all the users are now going to Sandbox and Decentraland because those are the busiest ones. And those are the two rules of network effects. So that's what we can expect to see. Does that answer your question?
Yep. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, buddy. Have a good weekend. Kilian, welcome to Crypto Banter, buddy.
How's it, Ryan? How you doing?
Good, man. Where are you from? Portugal. You must be from down the road, man.
Stellies.
Yeah. Come visit us in the office. Why are you calling in?
I actually have. I don't know if you remember me and my brother visits.
You bought honey?
No, bro. Me and my brother came to visit you guys that one
in
day
the old
after
office.
in the old office.
I remember in the old office.
Yeah.
I remember in the old office.
Cool. So my question for you is, I 100% agree with the network effect, but just specifically about Kadena. So for me, I look at it like institutional blockchain. You know, both of the guys are from JP Morgan. They've got their fingers tied up with all of the big dogs in that space. So I'm just wondering, you know, what are your thoughts on that type of L1? Because I know you haven't included any of the portfolios, but you know, for me, it still feels extremely undervalued. The fully diluted valuation isn't too bad, and you know, I guess it's a different play for, you know, institutional companies to look at Kadena and say, hey, these guys are institutional people that built this.
What is Kadena? What is Kadena? Kadena is a blockchain that has a consensus algorithm, which they call scalable proof of work. That's their big thing. It's a scalable proof of work. Concept is amazing. Apparently, it is much more environmentally friendly, which is, I think, how they positioned it as the institutional blockchain. Do you know anyone that's building any projects on it other than them with Cadex, Kadena Dex, whatever they call it? Are there any? Have you seen?
It's still, no. So it's still early stages, but I mean, I guess you have to ask yourself: do you want to get in once the hype starts or before it starts? So
risk reward. I had a chat to the team a while back. We landed up not investing. It just didn't fit our narrative. I didn't quite understand how the scalable proof of work worked. I didn't think it was a big thing, so we stayed out of it. That's not to say it's not going to work. It's just that we decided to put our money elsewhere. You know, if you start seeing developers building on it, which I haven't seen any developers building on it, that's when I would start deploying capital. And I haven't seen any smart developers building on it. So for me, not yet. Cool, buddy. Nice to chat to you. Let's get Hassan on the line. Hassan, welcome, buddy.
Hey, what's up, mate?
You from?
I'm originally from Pakistan, but I'm living in Russia.
In Russia. Man, is Russia invading Ukraine or is it media bullshit? You see, Russia cut him off. Russia cut him off. You see, we just spoke about the war for once. You see what happened there? It's the media. You see, it's all manipulation. Patrick, welcome, buddy. I know you've been waiting for a while. If he does come back, I'm watching his screen. If he does come back, I will bring Hassan back. Hopefully the Russian military hasn't destroyed him.
That couldn't be a coincidence.
Hey guys, happy to be here.
Where are you from?
I'm from Germany, actually.
Ah, that's good.
Oh, sehr schön. Sehr schön. Hassan, I got a few questions. I'm literally invested in.
Ask them in German. I'll translate.
Okay,
Oh,
that's right.
gosh.
Okay. Also, ich investiere nur in Crypto Gaming und ich habe ein paar Fragen bezüglich der kleinen Coins.
Okay, he's new in crypto gaming and he has a few questions about small coins.
Perfect.
Okay. Also ich bin in fast jeden Coin investiert aus Hassels Portfolio, außer Engine, Ron und Gala Games. Und ich habe aber auch noch 5 bis 6 kleine Games, wo ich mal fragen wollte, wie die Einschätzung von Hassel dazu ist.
Okay, so he mentioned he has some of the tokens in your portfolio. Just remind me what they were. Gala, Ronin, what was that one?
No. I'm invested in literally every coin he mentioned except Ron, Engine, and Gala. And I'm invested in a few more small cap coins, and I just want your opinion on them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Which one specifically?
I'm invested in Mousehound, Decimated, Metaverse, Cypher, Metagods, and Aurori.
Okay, so a bunch of.
I'm invested in all of those.
Yeah, probably.
So these are all just going to depend on the market sentiment. Where they are right now, they're going to be in the gutter, right? And if Bitcoin keeps tanking, it's going to be in the gutter. But those little lists of games right there that we've discussed on the show that are like between 3 million and 30 million, 50. I mean, even last bull run, the gaming coins that were 50 millions became 200 million market caps like that. So, as far as those go, those small cap games, they're going to get hit hard right now. But long term, they'll be, the ones that are going to ship good products, they'll be fine.
So the Bitcoin bounce just got bought, and Bitcoin is now firmly back at 40,650. That was very quick. That happened like in 2 seconds.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Danke.
Did that answer your question?
Perfect. Yeah.
Perfect.
Danke. Tschüss.
Danke.
Cheers.
Cheers. Alrighty. I once had a German girlfriend, so I learned to speak German. Yeah, I learned a lot of German. All right, I see we have a female on the line, so everybody just stop everything that you're doing. First female caller of the day. Welcome. Where are you from?
South Carolina.
Oh, amazing. Welcome to Crypto Banter Stay. What's in your mind?
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to start.
It's the Russians, bro. It's the Russians.
Wife of a wife.
We can't hear you, Stay. You cut out.
Comment on wife changing money. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. So as a wife of a wife, I think your wife changing money comment is hilarious. Hilarious. And anybody that doesn't think it's hilarious, they have no sense of humor.
Wait. Are you a wife of a wife?
I am a wife of a wife. So we have 2 wives, and we love your wife changing money comment. Exactly. I just had to say that.
Exactly. Most people don't really understand what it means. Like, wife changing money is when you make so much money that your wife actually changes and becomes nice to you. It's not. I mean, people think it's something else, but it's not. It's. I'd say thanks for calling in.
Yeah, I do have one question. One question there. I am a huge ADA Cardano fan. And I noticed I didn't see that in any of the portfolios, but I am still learning with the market cap versus the fully diluted market cap. And I just wanted to know if you would take a look at the ADA market cap versus the fully diluted market cap to just kind of explain that to me a little bit.
All right. So this is quite an interesting discussion. And the reason why it's an interesting discussion is because when you're dealing with layer ones like Cardano, Ethereum, Bitcoin, let's quickly go there. I'll quickly show it to you. So you have a fully diluted market cap of $46 million, and you have a market cap of $32 million, which there's a discrepancy between the two. The difference is here that these tokens are not token releases that are going to happen by early investors. So I'm assuming that by now all the Cardano investors have got their tokens and none of the tokens are locked up. The majority of the discrepancy here is tokens that are going to be mined through the validation of transactions. So it's an emission schedule. It's like every time a transaction takes place, new tokens get minted to pay for as a reward. So that is what the difference is made up here. It's the same as Bitcoin. It's the same as Bitcoin where new tokens get mined every single time. What I don't think is happening here, I don't know what happened there. What I don't think is happening there, I don't think that is investor unlocks. So I don't think that you're going to drown in investor unlocks. And I'm severely allergic to being drowned in other investor unlocks.
Thank you. I heard that yesterday, and I just wanted to make sure that I was on the right path. Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks. Send love to the wife.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, Tom, welcome, buddy, from the UK.
Hi, guys. Just want to say thank you for the amazing shows that you guys do. I've been watching for a year now. Love it.
Amazing. Well done, man. What's up? What's on your mind?
So I just wanted to ask about my portfolio. I was trying to get on when we had the last dip. I joined just before in February last year. Built a portfolio, but like every newbie, I just was buying every coin that was shielded to me. And loads of them recovered after the May crash last year, and they're still up. But there's a lot of small cap coins that I got little bits of money into. Should I consolidate them all now and get out of all of them and just consolidate them? Because none of them recovered really since May last year.
The answer is very simple. Ask yourself a few very simple questions. Do you think that the markets would recover?
Yeah, eventually, I think so. They're good projects.
Good. Do you think that by the time the market recovers, those tokens that you invested in will still be around?
Yes.
Okay. Right now, would you invest in the same tokens that you're holding?
Yes, I would.
You've answered your question.
There's one or two that I might not, but
then shift them. You know the beauty of switching. I love switching. You know why I love switching? Because generally tokens go down more or less the same. Okay, maybe if you take classes of tokens, most small tokens will drop the same amount, which means that if you're holding one shit token and you want to swap it for one good token, the absolute price doesn't matter because you're just selling the one and buying the other. So if both of them have gone down 50%, then just sell the one and buy the other. You haven't lost anything. You haven't lost anything. And if you live in the UK and if you live in the US, that's actually a tax harvest. So you're selling at a loss, which is a tax harvest, and then you can buy the other token. So there's I think switching is the best strategy in the world. I've been switching right through this dip. I've switched all my garbage, not all, a lot of my garbage into good coins.
And just last question. So do you think it's better because of the cycles and obviously, Bitcoin, then Ethereum, then large caps, is it better to switch them now into more safer, larger caps to get the next pump?
It depends on your risk profile. So let's talk about your risk profile. If you want to take bigger risks, then go into small caps. If you're scared of risk, go into big caps. If you go into big caps, you're not going to capture as much upside as you would capture in small caps. But if this is a prolonged bear market, and I don't think it is, but it might be, we can be wrong, then the big caps have got a much higher chance of survival. And if we do get an extended bear market, I don't think that's what's happening, but if we do, then a lot of these small caps are going to go to zero. And when I say zero, I mean zero. I've got a wallet, which I may even share with the community one day, with I call it the graveyard, and it's where I sent all my shit coins to die. And I've got a collection of like real shit coins that just went to zero. And I used to call it my graveyard wallet. I used to send when tokens went to zero, I'd send them to this wallet, and it was for me like a graveyard of all the tokens that died.
Is that worth a lot of money now, I bet, though?
Well, I mean, I invested a fortune of money in those, but it's a good lesson for me. Every time that I need to be reminded of like the mistakes that I make, I can just go to the graveyard and I just look at the graveyard. I may actually share that wallet. I may share that wallet with the community. I'm just going to make sure that it doesn't link back to my other wallets, because this community has an obsession with tracking my wallets. It's just one of those things.
Love that. Thank you very much.
Cool, Tom. Good to see you, buddy. Alrighty, I see we got DY. DY, welcome, buddy.
Hey guys. Hey, thanks for having me. Long time
Where you
fan,
from?
appreciate it. Calling from Chicago. In the
Oh,
States.
awesome, buddy. The cold city.
Yeah. So, one investing strategy that kind of struck a chord with me recently is the concept of metagames. Are you guys familiar with that at all?
Explain.
Sure. So the thought is that the market effectively moves on themes and narratives, and these narratives are important. And in 2021, we saw AVAX, Sol, Luna, Phantom, and other L1s pumping due to these narratives, due to the narrative that ETH doesn't make sense for most audiences, et cetera. But my question is, as you look into the future and kind of the next bull run, are there any kind of narratives or key themes that stick out to you all, whether that's GameFi, DeFi, L1s if they continue, etc.
Yeah, I mean, I think GameFi and Metaverse is one of the lead in the charge. I mean, so many of these big corps, for example, Netflix, Disney, the NFL, the NBA, so many different sports leagues and entertainment conglomerates are saying, we want to introduce NFTs into our platform. And they're saying, Disney just hired a Metaverse specialist. So much could develop. Like if Disney implements NFTs, I mean, things could really change as far as other business models and the Web2 space adapting to the digital world. And then I'm sure Rand has an opinion on a couple other narratives that might not be GameFi or Metaverse.
My narratives for this year, which I've made pretty public. So Metaverse is my number one narrative. I'm not a Metaverse guy, but I'm not a gaming guy, but Metaverse is my number one narrative. I think play to earn. Gaming is going to evolve into play and earn, which Elio said pretty well. I think that's a very big narrative. I think DeFi is a massive narrative, specifically because inflation is going to be high. Institutions are going to come and look for yield. They're going to come and find it in DeFi. The more, the better. I think privacy. Everybody's sleeping on privacy. Everybody's now only realizing the amazing effects of privacy. And I'm looking for a tweet here, but Barry Silbert actually tweeted today, and he said 5% of every portfolio should be in something that, here we go, 5% of every portfolio should be something in privacy related. So privacy is a massive narrative. And I think layer one, we still haven't seen the end of the layer one wars. Those are my narratives. That's what I'm playing. I'm being pretty open about it. That's how I built the portfolio. Here they are. That's it. That's my portfolio. All right, let's go. We've got time for about one or two more calls. I see there's a lot of people in the waiting room. Let's get Nev on. Nev, welcome, buddy. What's up?
Hey guys, how you doing? Nice to see you again.
Doing well. How about you?
What's up? Nice to see you, man.
Not too bad. I don't know if you remember last time I was talking to you about nodes. I actually went out there and bought my first node on polarnodes.finance. And it's flying as well, so I'm loving it right now. So nice one for the advice, that's all. Another couple of questions actually. So what do you think of projects that aren't KYC'd or doxed yet? Look, I'm looking for the smaller caps.
Depends why they're not KYC'd or doxed.
Yeah, I mean, one that I'm in at the minute is basically saying how it's a bit unnecessary yet. We've got, I mean, they're genuine people, they say, but it's too early, they're saying. It's,
If you got a project that really does need secrecy, then I kind of agree with it. But I mean, if you look at the big, Satoshi is not doxed yet. I mean, let's just put things into perspective.
Yeah.
But I think, but Satoshi also never raised money. So, if their project's raising decent amounts of money, they need to reveal themselves. Even like BitClout or decentralized social, which they call themselves now. They initially started out as an anonymous project, and then they doxed themselves. They had to dox themselves. There was the Punk, and was it the Punks? Not Punks. It was the Bored Ape Yacht Club, where the founders eventually got doxed. So
Recently.
Yeah, recently. I'm not a big fan of anonymous projects, but sometimes they have to be anonymous because of where they live or because of the nature of the product, and in which case I understand.
So it's not the be all and end all, basically. It could happen.
Not the be all and end all, but I wouldn't write very big checks for anonymous projects, specifically not small projects.
Another one, there's just a little request. Please, can you do a show on how to get into IDOs and ICOs, or give us a quick overview of how to do it properly?
We will, man. We will. All right, next up, let's go. We've got time for one more call. Erhan.
Hi.
From Turkey?
Turkey, yes, but I'm living in Hamburg, Germany.
Okay.
Yeah,
Lots of people in Germany.
Yeah. I'm invested in the cryptocurrency space since 2017, so I'm a little OG. And yeah, following you since you was on CNBC, and and never shut off one day. And,
Thank you. That means a lot, man. That means a lot. What's on your mind? Anything you want answered?
Yeah, I have some projects I'm invested in. Especially, I try to get through Twitter and send you a message. Try to cover if you can cover the project API 3. Elio just mentioned the project. Also, I invested since it was on Uniswap, and yes, I bought in at $1, and I'm holding until now, and they are developing continuously, and they have so much going on right now. So much data providers integrated.
I will cover it. I am an investor. I did buy it on the open market, and I farmed a lot of their tokens. So I'm an investor. Nice. I will cover it for you next week. I haven't been in touch with the project for a long time, so that's why I don't want to talk too much about it now. It's one of those projects that's been slightly off my radar. So I will cover it for you guys next week, if that's okay.
Yeah, and also I have another question. I have some Kusama. You don't have Kusama in your Degen-ish portfolio, and just want to ask, what do you think? What do you think? I have some Kusama left. Yeah,
I like Kusama, but I prefer Polkadot. And what you'll realize is that in my Degen portfolio, I had Moonriver and not Moonbeam. So because there's more value for money in Moonriver and Moonbeam. So I like them both. I prefer Polkadot as a play. But I took a punt, and I've actually invested quite a bit of money into Moonriver.
Okay. And if you would have Kusama, what would you do with your Kusama? Because I'm especially in this situation. I was in Luna since $5, and it's my biggest position. And
so we are running out of time, but you can stake it. I'll give you staking things. You can also use it to fund the crowd loans. So there's going to be, there's crowd loans. Use it to fund the crowd loans. That's probably the best return that you can make.
Okay. Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Listen, we are all out of time, guys. I see so many of you in the waiting room, but we'll have to do it next week. We are all out of time. We will see you guys again on Monday. Unless something happens on the market. We'll see you guys again on Monday. Just before we go, we've got Bitcoin at 40,500. It recovered very quickly from that 40,000 dip, which is a very, very, very good sign. Remember that if you do want to support the channel, this is how we make money. We make money by getting you guys to sign up to exchanges and other referrals. We are now running a 1 Bitcoin giveaway on KuCoin, so you're welcome to sign up. If you do that, you're supporting the channel. You're also getting a great account at the exchange. You can also go to Bybit, same thing. But Bybit, we're giving away $2,000 worth of 2,000 BitDAR tokens every single day next week. So sign up now, support the channel. That's what we do. 65 of us work hard every single day to make this happen, and that's how we get paid. We don't charge you. That's how we do it. See you guys on Monday. Until then, trade well, my friends. I love the call-in shows. I really do. Thanks, Hustle.
Absolutely. I enjoyed it, as always.
Yeah, it's great. The call-in shows are amazing. I love connecting with the community. Amazing question.